Do you think you could throw a corn tortilla or a flour tortilla farther?
Corn. The little corn ones.
Me too. I think they're
I
a little
think they'd hold
stronger.
their shape better. Yeah, they keep their shape. A big flour one would just flop all over the place and hit the people like down in the stands in front of you.
Welcome everybody to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. Welcome back, Bobcat fans. Time to put a bookend on the offseason. Texas Tech is a few short days away. MSU knows their starters. You got your two Ryans here ready to talk some Bobcat football. Let's get this thing going.
Oh, man. Game week. Finally. I'm super excited. I'm stoked.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming. Offseason was really long, but it's here. It's finally here. So it feels good to be back in the rhythm of game week.
Yeah, I think we kind of learned that off-season preview, recapping stuff, maybe not necessarily our forte. We'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, we had to do it. So it was fun. So thanks for being here, guys. Just a little bit of outline for the show today. We're going to talk a little bit about the depth chart that MSU released. And of course, we're going to preview the Texas Tech game. We'll play a little buy or sell on the back end and give you some bold predictions.
Sounds good. And if you've been listening for the last few episodes, I want to get into this real quick here. A fun little story about the new intro music that we've been playing. So I've been a fan of a hip hop group called Ugly Duckling for 10 to 15 years or so. I kind of discovered them in the middle college sometime. If you've never listened to them, they were a pretty popular group from California for a while there. I don't know if they're still too active or not, but I decided, you know what, we need some new intro music. I like Ugly Duckling a lot. I wonder if I could contact them and they'd let me use some of their music in their show, because there's a certain way you have to have license and stuff. You can't just play any music you want for a podcast intro. So the guy ends up getting back to me. He's the younger brother of one of the two rappers. There's Andy Cooper, and then there's Dizzy Dustin. And Andy Cooper's younger brother got back to me and said that, yeah, he would love if we used his stuff. And he actually told me he played football UW back in the 90s. And I told him, like, well, that's funny because you and I both married Cougars. And he laughed and thought it was pretty funny and said, like, you know, he was raised more to hate Oregon than he was anything else growing up in California. But just a pretty funny small world. And I should say he knew that because he listened to part of the podcast and heard that we're from Washington. He's like, oh, you guys are from Washington. And that's when he mentioned the UW thing. But so he actually sent me an unreleased track of theirs that he said we would make a great podcast intro, he thought. And that's what we've been using. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Kevin for sending this over to us. And you guys should check out Ugly Duckling if you haven't. They're one of my favorite hip hop groups. Just giving them a shout out here. Check them out. Nice.
It's a really good story too. And it sounds really good when you play it back when the show is released. So it fits our podcast. Perfect.
Yep. Definitely upped our production value.
Nice. Thorny, it's that time, buddy. Time to introduce what we're drinking tonight.
So I'm drinking a Devil's Hump Red Ale from the Highlander Beer, which is the Missoula Brewing Company. Have you had it?
No, I just like the name Devil's Hump.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Well, it's kind of sad, really, because it says that it's named after, the can says, some have described the Grizzlies' silhouette as having the Devil's Hump, but this Irish red will not frighten you with the smooth malty flavor. I hadn't actually read the whole thing. It's kind of funny. But
oh man, you like the malty beers, man. You like the ambers, the malty beers, anything with bitterness or hops. You're just out, aren't you?
I'm outie. Yeah, this is a 20 IBUs. That's a nice low bitterness scale for me. It's pretty good. I don't know. We spent some time there in Missoula. It's a real cool, kid-friendly place, so it's a pretty fun place to go. So I ended up buying a 6-pack while I was there.
Nice. All right. Well, tonight I'm drinking a tea pale ale from Big Mountain, commonly referred to as the TPA. Big Mountain is a brewery in Whitefish, and this I happened to stumble upon this beer, I want to say 3 years ago, over at the Stein House again in Great Falls. It's just really good. It's a really unique pale ale. It's infused with Earl Grey tea, And I think literally that is the only beer I have seen with that kind of marriage before. It's really low alcohol. It's 5.2% alcohol. Again, so that our listeners probably really know our beer taste by now. Um, but I found a 6-pack of it here in Spokane. Not even when I went back to Great Falls last weekend, and picked it up, and it's always been one of my favorite beers since I've had it, and remains to this day. So I was really pleased to introduce it tonight.
Nice. Yep. Sounds like something I might actually want to try at some point. Might be one of the few beers you've named that I might want to try.
Well, I'm just sliding it into my new R&R Cat Cast koozie we have. So
nice.
That's cool.
That's a good koozie. I'll allow that koozie.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about those koozies later.
Sure will.
All righty. Well, let's get into the news real quick. And the news that came out this week was MSU released its first depth chart for the Texas Tech game. And we're going to talk about a little bit what are surprises that we saw and some general thoughts on that. I'll let you start with that, Thorny.
So the biggest, I guess, surprise to me, maybe it's not really a surprise, but I'm kind of a little bit surprised that Jason Skrimpos is listed at the starter at nose. I mean, obviously he's got the size and everything you'd want that way, but I hadn't really heard much about him in camp one way or the other, if he was impressing, if he wasn't impressing, just that he was a physical mountain of a man. That's all I really heard. But if you beat out Chase Benson for the spot, I mean, they're both going to play all the time, but he must be equally, if not as good, if better than Chase Benson, which is Chase Benson. I think is going to have a hell of a year too.
Absolutely. I didn't really. I mean, I see that it wasn't something that jumped off to me. He is a graduate transfer, so I thought he would get some significant playing time. Whether or not he would have been ahead of Chase Benson, to tell you the truth, I hadn't really thought too much about that. So that was interesting. The thing that jumped out to me was Tyree Gibson starting at right corner. I know that's probably because Munchie has that injury that's sidelining him right now. But when I was hearing Jeff Choate talk about him today on the presser, he gave him high praise, told him he's really matured. It's always been a physical corner. Again, he's that 6-foot corner that is hard to come by in the Big Sky. So it just proves, that hard work pays off. Sophomore, so looking up on that end. So good job for him.
I don't remember him playing in more than 4 games last year. Was he a special teamer?
See, this is where I get confused. It was either him or his brother, and they're both coming. They're twins, right? Tyrese and Tyree. And if you ever seen a picture of them, they look almost identical to me. One of them has short hair now. One of them has long hair. I just saw a picture of them today, tweeted out. BJ Robertson was doing those first day of school kind of pictures.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was. Sorry.
Well, Tyrese is still listed as a freshman, so they're different classes.
Okay.
I was looking into that because I'm like, how are they a sophomore already? And then I looked and oh well, one's a sophomore, one's a freshman, so Tyree must have got some playing time last year. But
yeah,
regardless, yeah, that's definitely. I wouldn't have expected him to be the guy who would replace Munchie necessarily, but he has the best size out of anybody, and if you're replacing Munchie, who I think is also 6'1" or 6 foot, right around the 8 or size, you're going to want if you're trying to get a lengthy corner in there, he's probably definitely the best of that bunch.
For sure. And level price junior freshman is in second right behind him, so a couple of young guys holding down the right corner.
Yeah, I think it's Lavelle, and yeah, he's right there too. But yeah, he's about the same size as Tyrell Thomas, both 5'8". So definitely a little different size wise, but good to see Tyrell Thomas back on the depth chart too, because he played injured last year, but he's just such a quintessential Bobcat under Jeff Choate, just one of the right cats, if you will, and he's just been such a solid, just bought in the system kind of guy. I'm just happy to see Tyrell Thomas back in the depth chart.
Absolutely.
Of course, then the other little bit of news from the depth chart would be the linebacker position, which we talked a little bit about with Shane on Saturday. So Nolan Askelson did end up winning the job. Then you got Josh Hill, Troy Anderson, and Yeah, those are the three besides Amandre William at Buck. What do you think about Nolan Askelson winning the job there?
I'm really happy for him. A freshman making that splash in that deep group. It sounded like Callahan O'Reilly's right on his heels. Well, and Blake Flovin is another name thrown in there. He's sitting third in the depth chart. So just proves that, again, a freshman can play in Choate's system. Typically, if I have an opinion on that, which I do, is I don't really like that as much. I kind of like the idea of sitting the freshman, building that culture, kind of like NDSU does, where you study behind the people behind you. But I mean, if you're the best of the best, and in case that's like this is Nolan's time, good for him. I'm more concerned a little bit about Josh Hill. A little bit, it's just like Choate said today, like we just got to let him play, and we'll see, and keep our fingers crossed, and that he doesn't have any recurring injuries there. So, but good for him. Number 58, Josh Hill has been such a steady player, such a cerebral player for us. I'm really happy.
Yeah, no, me too. And any mileage you get out of him is a bonus, and I don't want him to, hurt himself down the road after football by getting injured or playing more than he should. So there's always that concern. But he is definitely just a different player when he's out there on the field. Size be damned, like he makes a difference. He's one of the best just linebackers you'll find. Like classic undersized linebacker who just has a nose for the ball and makes the play. So it's good to have him out there. But I think Jobin with another year in the system, another year developing, and then even Walter, Koozie as a senior, those are two guys I think when they do spell him, and they will spell him quite a bit, will be able to keep up the pace.
What was your just like general thoughts on the depth chart? Where are you? How are you feeling about it?
I feel great. Like there's really nothing looking at it like the few surprises I mentioned aren't disappointments. Like it's okay. Skrempos must be pretty good if he beat out Chase Benson for the starting spot, but I also think those guys are going to rotate heavily. So as they do in at least under Gregorak, I'm not sure if that's going to still be the case, but I think anytime you have a Jeff Choate as the head coach, there's going to be just lots of substitutions and moving guys around, and the starter doesn't even mean you're going to have the most snaps in the game. So I don't know, seems good to me. Yeah, I have no qualms. I wasn't sure who was going to rise to the crop at the tight end position, but Ryan Davis ended up winning the job there. So that was the other one I was kind of keeping an eye on. So Ryan Davis beat out Jacob Hadley for the starting spot, and Ryan Lonergan, third on the depth chart, is interesting as well. And no, we have a fullback listed on the depth chart. What do you think about that?
Did we not last year? I thought we did.
I don't know if we did, but did we play a fullback? Like, who was listed at fullback?
Oh, Curtis Amos was the guy I was always thinking. So
you think he was listed as the depth chart as the fullback? I can't remember.
I don't know, but he was definitely our fullback last year.
But then the funny part here is, guess who Jeff Choate nominated as first team fullback?
You're right.
For the all conference team. Neither of the two fullbacks on the depth chart. It's kind of funny. It's just funny.
Troy did make the position group on 3 different spots. So, of course, he's our starting Sam linebacker. He's listed as the 4th tailback behind Carl Tucker. And then he's listed at the 4th quarterback behind Beltran. So, there you go, Thorny. There's your Troy Anderson love for you.
Yep. And the last thing I'll say about the depth chart is, speaking of Troy Anderson, Daniel Hardy is going to get lots of playing time because Troy Anderson is not going to go full games. So Daniel Hardy, I think, is a guy who has similar size and range as Troy Anderson. So it's pretty exciting to have a guy with not quite similar physical attributes, but like on the kind of the same level when Troy Anderson is being on the sideline or taking a breather.
He's one of the most players I'm really excited to watch. So haven't seen much of him, but just heard his athleticism is through the roof. Can't wait to see that.
Well, he's a junior now, which is also surprising. That doesn't seem right to me, but a junior, yeah, by now he should have gotten the hang of the coaching in the game, and I'm excited to see him actually get on the field and play some snaps at linebacker.
For sure. one thing that jumped out to me when I was looking at this depth chart was how many dudes we have and how far we've come in during the time of Jeff Choate. Uh, I was reflecting on it when I was looking through some of the Texas Tech stuff that, when we were seeing their star players put out in the press, it's like, we got some guys that match that. And can't say we've always had that. So I'm looking forward to Saturday for many reasons, but I feel we're going to be outnumbered for sure. They have 22 more scholarship players than we do. Definitely more guys that probably have more skill players, as Choate would call them. But we're not going in empty-handed, so should be exciting.
No, and that's one thing I've been thinking for a couple weeks now. I'm just like looking at this, like I think Texas Tech is going to be surprised by our physicality, and I've thought that for a while now. And it's just like they can look at the film all they want, they can read the depth charts, they can do all that stuff, but a lot of times we see this when we play the Division II team, right? Like, all right, their lineman is 6'6", 300, but it looks like the guy just eats pizza all day long, and he's like the bad 300. He's not like a physical specimen 300 that you'd see at like Wisconsin. He's like his like belly's hanging out the bottom of his jersey, like so. I imagine like same thing when you kind of have an FBS fan looking down at us, like, okay, yeah, sure, their Bryce Shirk is 6'5", 261 on the depth chart, decent size. Well, that's like legitimate decent size. Like there's absolutely no body fat on that guy. Like none of the guys, like even Jason Skrimpos is a lean 6'6", 299. Like these are all, like they say, they just look the part. They all have that just aura about them. Like these are players. Like these are dudes. That's what they look like.
Some of these dudes are over 100 pounds more than I am. It's just when you see them, they're just physical, dude. I can't tell. I mean, when I said it a while back when we went to Spokane, or when we went to the Big Sky Kickoff, they just look different. These Division I athletes, these Division I football players specifically, just look different. All right, Thorny, are you ready to move on?
I think so.
All right, let's talk about Texas Tech. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the presser that came off today from Jeff Choate, which is right in his wheelhouse. And then
he cracks me up.
Oh yeah, and then we'll give you just our fan-based thoughts on what we could scrounge up through our own research. So, what do you think about Jeff Choate today?
Classic Jeff Choate just starts rambling on about everything and anything, and the opponent just talking football, just like gets it off his chest. I get the feeling that he just doesn't even like taking questions. Like maybe if I just talk long enough and answer every possible question they might ask all in one giant blurb, they won't have any questions left for me at the end. You think? I don't think that's his strategy. I do love the very first thing he said is the only time of the year where he has a consistent schedule, so he gets to say no to people, which is his favorite thing to do. Did you catch that part?
Oh gosh, yeah.
The first thing he says.
Man, he comes out hot too. He does not stop. I mean, the guy just talks, and he talks fast. And so I'm listening. I'm trying to scribble down things. I'm pausing, rewinding, but I'm just sitting there with a smirk on my face because this guy loves it. I think Choate just loves his Monday pressers. I really do. I think he just loves getting up there and just his bravado is on full force about his football knowledge, and he just plays it up. Oh, I just love listening to Choate. I literally probably could listen to Choate most of the day and just be content with that because I just find him fascinating.
But his passion for the game just exudes. He just loves football.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man. Anything you want to mention about what he said?
I mean, he said kind of the same stuff you'd expect, just like an opportunity to get the Montana State brand on a national scale. He went to talk on Tech a little bit. I mean, other than that, it was interesting. I listened to both Jeff Choate and Matt Wells' press conferences, and they both had high praise for each other because they knew each other for a long time. So that was a little interesting to know. I hadn't really known that they were, had come in contact with each other before. But other than that, I mean, just Jeff Choate talking football, a little bit about Texas Tech, and just there's really nothing too groundbreaking or newsworthy in there, in my opinion.
No, the two quotes that came to the surface for me was the first one was that he said was the pressure is not on us, and I think he's exactly right when he said that. It's on Texas Tech. They should be expecting to win this game. They're favored in this game, and so. But I like that he said that for. I just think they're probably framing that to the players right now. The pressure is not on us; it's on them. So let's go wreck their day.
Yeah, I like that. I like that quite a bit because it's absolutely true. Like, there's nothing to lose in the eyes of the FCS playoff selection committee. Okay, maybe if you lose 77-0, they might hold that against you, but other than that, they're not going to really care.
And to back that up, the second quote that interests me was he said, "Nowhere on our pyramid does it say we have to beat Texas Tech to achieve our team goals." And
there you go.
Yeah, so I think they have a good focus on what this game means to them, and I think I think the Cats will play really well in this game. Actually, I think they will surprise Texas Tech. There's a chance that we could win for sure. There's always a chance. I'm not saying we're going to or predicting that we are, but I think we're looking at it with some opportunistic eyes.
No, and you're absolutely right. And the other thing, real quick, that kind of building off that a little bit is Jeff Choate did say, like, hey, you go against Texas Tech, you're not going to see another team like Texas Tech on the schedule. It's going to be like downhill from there in terms of like level of play you're going to have, the athletes you're going to face for the rest of the year. So that's another kind of a silver lining of the game. But I agree. Like, this isn't a game I expect us to win by any stretch, but we're going to, I think, give Texas Tech fits, especially they're building a lot of new starters. They have a new coach, a new system in place. While very similar to the old system, it's still a new coach, still new terms and lingo and stuff. There's going to be the first game mistakes that every team makes. Veteran teams make less of them than others, and they're veteran in certain areas, but they're also pretty inexperienced in others. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup in that regard.
They're ranked 7th in the Big 12 preseason poll between Baylor and West Virginia.
Yeah, right middle of the road.
Yeah.
They're pretty middle of the road defense typically as well, if that might be even being generous. Middle of the road Big 12 defense, which is not a league known for real quality defensive play. Definitely an offensive league, similar to how the Big Sky was for a long, long time. Big points, big passing, big yardage, no defense.
Big 12.
Yep.
Do you think the heat is going to play a factor for the Cats?
I don't think as much as people would think, just because I think we have good depth. I think we'll be able to rotate guys in. My only concern is it will play a factor if Texas Tech has such an up-tempo offense, which sounds like they will, that we don't even have time to sub guys out. And that's where I get a little concerned that they're going to get winded pretty quickly. But we do have the depth. If we're able to make some subs, I think we'll be able to stem any steamrolling that would occur from that kind of advantage.
Okay. Yeah, Joe had mentioned that Texas Tech is going to want to go fast. And so I think you're probably spot on there. They're probably going to want to go as fast as they can to wear us out early, thinking that he's going to get to us. So,
yep, they're going to definitely test our conditioning, I think, real fast.
How you feeling with Kane Ione as the defensive coordinator? I know it's kind of a tangential thought right there, but are you having any like PTSD of 2015 coming to your mind coming into this game?
Honestly, no, not at all. And I don't know why that is. I guess I never really fully held him any sort of accountable for that disaster. The team was already off the rails before he took over. He didn't even get a chance to put his stamp on it. And he's learned a lot since then. So I don't know. I don't really have any concerns. He's a young defensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, so he's going to have some growing pains, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that level just because the guys we have are just such excellent players to begin with. The talent levels like miles ahead of where we were that last time around. And I also think he's miles ahead of where he was as a coach.
I would agree with that. I have a little bit of concern. I just want to see it. But I think he's going to do just fine.
I
So
think he might be outclassed pretty bad here in this game, but like all FCS coaches in particular, like, just new young coaches against experienced, proven guys that are going to be on the staff at Texas Tech. I don't know if you're listening to the Texas Tech press conference, but Matt Wells is talking about like he sees some stuff that he thinks that we do well. He's like, we already got a game plan. We're already fixing it, basically. Like he's just confident and like he sees what we can do. He's already got it going that we're going to stop it. Like it's confidence, and I just believed him completely. Like he didn't seem like he gave us plenty of respect, but he also saw like, yeah, we can shut these guys down. It's kind of how I read it. So
yeah,
it's going to be the same way on offense. Like they got some guys with a lot of experience running big power offenses, and they're coming up against a first time and a half defensive coordinator. So we'll see how that goes.
See, I think both teams are going to play it pretty vanilla. First game of the season, kind of a mismatch if you're looking at it on paper. And then begs the question, if we keep it close, what are we going to open up in the playbook,
We're such a weird offense. Like for us, like people expect us now to run multiple players at quarterback and have weird wildcat packages and use Troy Anderson all over the field. Like that's not even new or surprising.
No.
I think most people at this point are like wondering what we're going to do with more a pro style quarterback. Like how is our offense going to throw the ball down the field? That's how normal are we going to be? How traditional are we going to be? Like our surprise is that, which is weird, a weird dynamic. I don't know how we're going to use Bauman. I have no idea.
Yeah, me either.
At least in this game in particular.
Yeah, it's probably going to just limit his effectiveness. Really, probably just keep him comfortable. Joe did mention, he's like, rightfully, he's going to be nervous. And so I thought it was funny when he said, we're going to get him hit a couple times and have him shake it off and go play ball.
Did he say it also that, I can't remember, I heard it from somebody today that, what if he throws a ball down the field and hits Cassis on a 50-yard play, all of a sudden he's feeling a lot better about that.
Yeah.
Was that Choate?
Doesn't ring a bell.
I can't remember. I was also listening to the Tutela Nuanez, so maybe that's where they said it. But I mean, that's basically what I was saying for my first play from the other night. It's like, first play scrimmage, man, I'm just throwing a bomb to Johnson. I don't care if it's complete. So, and if he complete it, man, that's right away. Bauman is like, all right, I can complete a pass here. Worst case scenario is like Texas Tech, the defense thinks a little bit more about not creeping up to the line of scrimmage so much.
The only thing that would disappoint me is if then we run the same script we did with Troy Anderson. And I don't think we're going to do that. I think Matt Miller's going to show more diversity this year. And obviously we had play sets that catered to Troy back there. So I'm just looking for a little bit more diversity and some more passing game for sure.
So I asked this a little bit on the other podcast, but we can kind of come back to it a little bit. What are you doing if you're Matt Miller in this game?
Well, I think you have your base calls, right? That none of us have seen yet, or we've seen few of them through the scrimmages and even in last year's tape. I do think you're probably going to see multiple touches from multiple quarterbacks. But I don't think you're going to see anything exotic. I think we're going to try to establish a run with Infonse right away. We're going to test that. We're going to pound that. We're going to pound that. We're going to run. We're going to put Troy Anderson back there. We're going to put Travis Johnson back there. And those times it signals to me that, okay, a run's coming. What I would like to see is if we put either of those guys back there and they, fake the run, all kind of like Tebow style, and then pop back and then, throw it, because both of them have arms. So, although, even last year when they knew we were going to run the ball, we ran it at will. So, I expect a little bit more diversity for sure in the play calling, but I don't feel like we'll show anything too telling on what we're going to do for the rest of the season.
No, I agree with that. And if I'm Matt Miller and I got a new young quarterback making his first start, and even just with the skill set, like the talent we have in certain positions, I'm just gonna test that Texas Tech run defense. I'm just gonna don't do anything too fancy, maybe some wildcat packages here and there, but I'm just gonna run right at them and see what they're made out of. Like, of course, you think they're gonna be able to handle it, but at the same time, like you never know. Like that's not really the kind of offense that a Big 12 team is used to facing. A team that just pounds the rock, runs the ball, but also has some interesting creative ways to run the ball, like not just handing the ball off. Like we have some creative ways that we get the ball into our playmakers' hands that aren't passing the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get anything going on the ground game right out of the gate. If we can, I think we can keep the game close at least for a half. But if we get behind and we're trying to run the ball, obviously it's going to just snowball on us. But I think we'll be able to keep the game close if we can get the running game going.
Yep, that's my thoughts exactly. If we can gain some yards on first and second down and we're not putting ourselves in third and longs, that's a really good sign for us.
And I think Bauman's going to be a part of that too, because people I think are going to be a little bit surprised too with his running ability. Like we've heard it all camp, people are surprised by it. But, he ran for 620 some yards or whatever as a senior in high school. Like that's, he can move. Like he's not going to be a guy who's going to break it for a touchdown, but he'll get you 7-10 yards. Like if he gets around the edge and no one's there, he'll be able to do that. And he'll be able to take some hits, you would think, at his size too. So I think he's going to be able to add an element of that people may not be expecting, especially when you look at a guy like his 6'6", 6'7". That guy's not going to be able to run the ball. It's Joe Flacco back there, but no, he can. He's got some decent wheels on him.
One thing I'm hoping we don't do is what we did last year, which was run first and second down and then pass on third down. I hope we really can mix up those passes early on in the sets to keep the Texas Tech guys guessing.
Yeah, that's kind of a product of just what the personnel we had. Like if we got we needed to get to 3rd and 4 or less to have any chance of getting the conversion. If we got ourselves in 3rd and 8. So, I mean, yeah, I can see why we did that. And if it didn't work, then what are you going to do? You don't have a quarterback who can throw the ball. But it'd be interesting to see. I think outside of the running game, I think Bauman is going to be put in position to succeed. I hope they give him make your first read. If it's not there, maybe a dump down. If that's not there, just, tuck it and run or get the ball out of your hands. Like just preach. Don't hold the ball too long because Texas Tech is going to have athletes. They're going to have guys that we can only block for so long. Even if our guys have great technique, they're just going to have athletes and dudes that we're just not used to seeing. So they're going to get to him eventually. So he's going to have to make good reads and good choices and get the ball out of his hands, even if that's just a slant pass or a check down to Logan Jones in the flat or something.
We didn't complete many of those last year. The check downs have been few and far between with Jeff Choate, surprisingly. And slant passes almost nil. Yes. I know you and I, when we see a slant pass, we text each other with happy faces and exclamation marks. We're like, oh my gosh, we had a slant.
Great. Get over and under.
Right. So in my research in Texas Tech, I found one interesting, it's not even a stat. It's just a tradition they do. They have a game day tradition of throwing tortilla shells at opening kickoff.
Okay. Where do they throw them?
I don't know. I think they just huck them like Frisbees. I think we did that once in Bobcat Stadium when we were going to school. I want to think it was the 2005 Cat Grizz game. That was the one where I'm pretty sure, who was our running back? Evan Groves. It was that game when he went off. We were just, at least I was, somebody was passing around tortillas and we were just hucking them on the field, tossing them as far as we could go. But this is a legit game day tradition.
That makes me sad for all those burritos that could have been.
Oh, do you think they get cooked on the field? Or, it's pretty hot down there.
Yeah, Choate was talking about the steam effect. So maybe you just throw the tortillas on there, steam them a little bit on both sides. Have a nice little burrito.
There you go.
That sounds good.
Why not? Can you imagine if you're the grounds crew people picking up all those tortillas every game, going man, freaking tortillas. or every game. It's just
Or do you think one opportunistic guy just like hoards them, goes home and just flash fries them in his pan, cooks off any potential hazardous shit on it, and then he's got himself a burrito?
oh my! They should just like unleash a pack of dogs in the stadium and then just like go eat them, guys. Go get them.
Cleanup crew.
There you go. Well, pretty much that's all I had on Texas Tech. If you want some uh, player profiles, I would encourage you to go look at like Coulter's work or some of those Skyline articles. But Thorny and I are not going to be able to give you too much info on who's good on Texas Tech.
No, we're not real big on that. And I did do some research, and I kind of had my game plan to success. I've already kind of described some of it. Run the ball, get success running the ball. One thing I did notice is Texas Tech really struggled in turnovers last year. They were 90th in turnover margin. If that continues, that would definitely be in our favor because we were 12th nationally last year in turnover margin. So, and that was after like not even having like a fumble recovery for like half the season. So if we if we continue like our second half season turnover margin, we're gonna be like top 5. And I did also see that Utah State last year was like number 1 in the country in turnover margin. So he pretty much brought his whole staff with him. Matt Wells did. Can't remember the guy's name, but Patterson's the defensive coordinator, was with him at Utah State. And then it's either Yost or Host. I can't even remember. The offensive coordinator came with him too. But if they're preaching the same kind of takeaway mentality, ball hawking stuff, then that will definitely be bad news bears for any sort of passing game we have with a rookie quarterback going in there. But you hold on to the ball. If we can be opportunistic on defense and get some takeaways and just keep grinding it out, I think there's a chance we have there. They have a lot of inexperience in the wide receiver position. They're replacing a lot of lost guys. They have that 6'6", whatever, TJ Vasher guy that's going to be a nightmare. But we have some dudes who I think can make him think twice about just running wide open and catching a ball over the middle, namely Conkle and namely Conkle. That guy likes to hit people. So I don't know. They're going to test our secondary, but there's some things here that could go our way for sure. So I think there's some things, but overall, I mean, just they're going to be athletes we haven't seen, even if they're not cream of the crop Big 12 team this year. Those are just guys that we're just not even going to see again. And I think it's going to be a little too much.
Well, they're supposed to have a really good offensive line, and our defensive line is a strength for us. And so I'm interested in that battle for sure.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how our highly touted but unproven defensive line does in an environment like this. If they can have like even a modicum of success against Texas Tech, an O-line that has tons of experience and by all accounts is one of the strengths of the team, that's going to just bode really well for us coming in the season.
We're going to have to rotate guys pretty regularly too. You know, we're going to have to keep them fresh, keep them hydrated. And so we're probably going to see all those defensive linemen on that depth chart.
No, we'll see Amandre Williams. We'll see Kyle Finch, who's listed as backup. Derek Marks. We'll probably see Ferreter. We'll definitely see Benson. And I don't know who else we'll see. Maybe Byron Rollins to get in some. And we'll get to the point of the game where we'll probably be playing second stringers on purpose. But I'm just talking even in the normal flow of the first or second quarter. We're going to see lots of guys rotating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited to see our defense in action. I haven't been this excited about a Bobcat defense probably since like 2011, 2012.
I agree.
And I feel like could be even more, a better defense than that team. I think we're going back to like the Kramer defense, like the Pete K defenses here.
Now that's a bold prediction right there.
I'm just saying I haven't been that excited just about the raw talent level of a defense probably since that era.
Yeah, pretty much across the board on defense.
Across the board, we have deep.
Yeah, we got dudes. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, I hate to jump forward, but like I'm really looking forward to SEMO night game, Gold Rush. It's gonna be lights out. So
agreed.
All right. So I think that's all I have on Texas Tech. Do you have any parting thoughts?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, going to be a hard game.
But it will be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Stoked. I'm hoping I'm figuring out a way to watch it, but yeah, I'm stoked.
All right. Well, Thorny, it's that time, buddy. We're going to play a little buy or sell. We're going to do some bold predictions, and then we're going to talk a little something about that golden koozie mentioned in the beginning part of this cast. So I got some buy or sell questions for you. You were supposed to do some for me, but of course, I did mine. You did not do yours, and so we're going to go. You ready to go?
Ready.
All right, Thorny, you're on the hot seat. Buy or sell? Throwing tortillas as a game tradition.
Sell. Wasting food. Next.
Okay. That was a fast sell. All right.
I didn't like it when you said it initially. Don't like it more than I thought about it.
All right. All right. Buy or sell? Bobcats will be within 2 scores at the onset of the fourth quarter.
I could buy that. I could see that. Just Texas Tech jitters and our strong defense could lead to a slow start for Tech. Yeah, I could see that.
Now you can take that 2 scores any way you want. So
True. Yeah.
All right.
I've taken it to the max, 16.
All right. Last buy or sell for tonight. Buy or sell? 3 or more Cats will take snaps as a QB at Texas Tech.
Buy that all day. 5.
5? Serious?
Okay, let's see. Johnson, Bauman.
Bob.
Rovig will probably get in. Troy. Cassis?
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
I don't know if Cassis will get in there, but I think it'll be 4 for sure.
Okay. So that fits the 3 or more. All right. Thorny, you're off the hot seat.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Oh, are you going to ask yourself some? I came up with some.
Oh, you came up with some.
I got one. I'll just give you one.
Okay.
Buy or sell, we rush for 200 yards.
I'm going to sell.
You going to sell that?
With the caveat, unless Troy goes for like a 60 or 70 yard route, then I think we could. Yeah, I'm going to still sell.
I'm interested to see if he's lost any speed putting on that 10 to extra 15 pounds. He has to have.
He's Troy Anderson. Of course he hasn't, man.
He got faster.
Yeah, he got faster. Exactly.
He also got a little bit taller.
Bigger, faster, stronger. Troy Anderson.
Every minute. Bigger, faster, stronger than he was the previous minute.
Okay, I'm going to run through. I'm going to run through the buy or sell on my part. Buy or sell Foley throwing tortillas as a game day tradition. I'm buying that because throwing tortillas in Bobcat Stadium was a boatload of fun. They're like mini frisbees, and it was really exciting. They're flimsy, but they're really fun, and it's kind of fun to watch them like careen through the air and then like slide, and like dive into the crowd, and then you just like whack someone. It's pretty funny. So I'm buying throwing tortillas as a game day tradition. Buy or sell? Bobcats will be within 2 scores on the onset of the fourth quarter. I'm going to buy that. And I think Jeff Choate and company, they have a game plan, and I think Texas Tech is going to be a battle. And I think the Cats are going to surprise a lot of people. This might be kind of like a step for us to be kind of a nationally elite team. You know, I mean, that's a bold statement right there, but this could be like one of those NDSU games where, you know, we're the team shocking the big upset. So, very well could be within 2 scores within the fourth quarter. And lastly, buy or sell, 3 or more Cats will take snaps as a QB at Texas Tech. Definitely going to buy that. And I was probably going to put that at 4. And I probably should have. I think even 4, I would buy that.
Yeah, if I was doing an over and under, I would have put it at 3.5.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I had a thought while you were talking there. Maybe part of the reason I don't like the tortilla thing is because I've been a referee before, and I can't even imagine trying to like run down the sideline with just a barrage of tortillas all over the place.
You can't really throw them that far. I mean, I guess I was pretty high up, so if you were in the front seats, I guess I'm going to be looking for it. And so I don't know if it's just like at kickoff or is before kickoff. It just said at the beginning of the game. So I'll be looking for those tortillas.
If I'm running down the sideline and I step on a tortilla and I slip, I'm getting up and I'm throwing a flag on the home team. Guaranteed.
Do you think you could throw a corn tortilla or a flour tortilla farther?
Corn. The little corn ones.
Me too. I think
they'd hold their shape better. Yeah, they keep their shape. A big flour one would just flop all over the place and hit the people like down in the stands in front of you.
Do you think you could throw a corn tortilla or a flour tortilla farther?
Corn. The little corn ones.
Me too. I think
they'd hold their shape better. Yeah, they keep their shape. A big flour one would just flop all over the place and hit the people like down in the stands in front of you.
All right. Did you want to get into bold predictions? Let's do it.
My bold prediction is that we do run for 200 yards.
Okay.
I think we can as a team. I think Alphonse could go for 100 himself.
Do you have a second bold prediction?
I do. I don't really want to say it.
What?
I think because it's kind of like insulting all at the same time, but I think Bauman throws more touchdowns than interception. Is that a bold prediction?
That is a bold prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I have high hopes for the kid, but that's a tough environment to start off. But he might throw 0 both. They might even not ask him to do anything. I think he throws more touchdowns than interception.
Okay, well, that's good. Because my first bold prediction is we have a passing touchdown.
Nice. We're thinking the same lines.
Yeah, and I think we only have one. Hopefully I'm wrong on that. So I hope we have more. My second bold prediction was we scored greater than 21 points. Well, I was looking at some lines on this game. One site had us at 15.8 points and Texas Tech as 33.8 points with the under 60 points total. Right now, we are a plus 25. Texas obviously being a minus 25 point favorite. So I think we can score more than 15.8 points in this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if at least 7 of, if not more, would be from defensive touches.
Yeah, that could be in our bold prediction. We score a defensive or a special teams touch.
All right. So we will have to do a good job at revisiting those bold predictions, Thorny,
yes.
Because last year we did not. We made all these vast predictions and we would sometimes talk about them, but we're going to do a better job this year. That's one of our goals.
All right. We have notes now.
One thing we really wanted to talk about is kind of a promotion thing we're running at R&R CatCast is our Golden Koozie Award. So this is brand new. And on a weekly basis, we're going to give out a Golden Koozie Award. Now, let me preface this with saying I order a whole bunch of Golden Koozies. If you haven't been on our Twitter account, which is RRCatCast, you can go on there and you can see a picture of it. We're going to give those out to our listeners. But here's the catch. You have to submit a question to Thorny and I, and we will pick our favorite question for each week, and we'll read it on the CatCast, and we will answer it, and that person will get the Golden Koozie. So I'm thinking, Thorny, why don't you answer on how we can submit those questions, how our listeners can submit those questions?
There's 2 things I want to say before I get to that point. Number 1, if you couldn't tell, that cowboy hat's not real. You're not getting the cowboy hat on the picture. Number 2, just because we didn't pick your question for the Golden Koozie Award doesn't mean we're not going to take your question and answer it. It's not like we pick one question. We only talk about one question. If we get a bunch of good questions, we'll read them all and answer them all, but we'll pick the one that we feel is worthy of the koozie. And you can submit the questions, Twitter, RRCatCast. You can hit us up at our email, which I don't think we've given out yet, which is rrcatcast@gmail.com. Or you could just pop in the Bobcat Nation and leave it on a kind of recurring thread there. Any way you want to do it. Bonus points in Anchor. If you go to our anchor.fm/rrcatcast, I don't know if many of you listen through there or not, but there's an easy way to just send a voicemail in there, a voice message. So if you ask us via voice message and we pick you, then we'll play your audio on the show and then we'll answer the question. So that'd be a fun little thing to do too.
And Thorny's going to put all that information in our show notes. So in case you didn't write those down or have a good memory like myself, you'll be able to see those there.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Cool. So expect those golden koozies to be hitting the mail pretty soon to those lucky winners. And if you would, this would be pretty cool. When you're drinking with the golden koozie, the R&R CatCast koozie, you could just take some pictures and tag us in the social medias that we have. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see the koozies in different various parts of the world, country, Montana.
So, Thorny, I do have to admit, I did give about 5 of them away when I went to Great Falls last week to my friends. So we'll see what happens.
That's okay. Hopefully you told them to take some pictures and put it on our Twitter page.
Yeah, and you will be getting one soon, and some of our friends to the CatCast will be getting some soon. So cool.
I think about 20 other people have had him before the co-host of the show. Just saying.
I've been busy. It's back to school time for me, buddy.
Maybe you felt that way because all I've done for the last season is rail on koozies.
I'm converting every one of you.
One koozie at a time.
There you go. All right, Thorny, hit us with the outro. What do you got?
Well, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. You can find us in any of the things I just said. You don't have to do the koozie thing. You can just leave us some feedback or give us a review on iTunes, whatever you want to do. We'll appreciate it.
Right on. Go Cats.
Go Cats.